We street talking. Chopping game and code, we street talking. We in survival mode, we just street talking. Taking the soul, we just street talking. Cause that's how it goes.
You tuned into me, you're watching Gully TV, recorded live from Washington, D.C. We have one of the city's most prolific clothing designers in the building. State your name, gangster.
Grindstone.
How did you come up with the moniker Grindstone?
Man, I done a lot of shit in my life. One thing I used to do, I used to sell knives. I used to sell blades, and the good ones had a stone attached to them. It was called a grindstone. So you take this stone, you sharpen that shit up.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a good blade, it'll shine it up and sharpen it. If it's a garbage blade, it'll crumble it up. So the grindstone was the truth teller. And after I was selling all them blades, I was like, that's me. I'm letting people know who they are.
History on the Grindstone brand, establishing it in what year, inspirations, etc.
Man, so Grindstone came to be real. It was birthed in '97, but then it got really real in '98 when me and my partner at the time figured out what we were really aiming for. So I'm gonna tell you, man, I tell you, my sole inspiration for doing my business was Master P.
Okay.
So when Master P had the Ice Cream Man album out, I was reading Source magazine. It was one of those magazines. I can't put it on Source, but it was one of them joints that was reviewing albums, interviewing people. So
Mm-hmm.
I was selling everything at that time in my life. And if it was a customer for it, here you go. You know, so like, I read about Master P, and he was talking about you got to learn how to make $100 before you learn how to make $1,000. You got to learn how to make $1,000 before you learn how to make $1 million. So he was talking about his whole business, how he was selling tapes, and he about to do this and that and this and that, and I was in 100% admiration. And this was the Ice Cream Man was out. This was before the No Limit Soldiers and the whole run. And I just peeped this game, and I was like, man, I drove to the crib, told my peoples, I was like, look, man, I got a way to get us out of this situation we in. We're going to sell clothes. I'm going to make shirts. I'm going to put my art on t-shirts.
Okay.
And one of my dudes was with it. My other dude, he had just got shot, and he was like, man, anything to get me out the street. No, one of my dudes was not with it. The other dude, he was all the way with it. And I was like, man, we're going to sell t-shirts like Master P sells tapes.
Right.
At that time, everybody was hustling. Everybody was hustling outside. There was no phone, media, none of that. So, like, your popular spots would be the basketball courts, just the little areas where you knew little cul-de-sacs, whatever. I mean, like, little spots in the buildings and all that.
Right.
So, we would go there, go to people's houses and pop trunks, sell shirts. And then it kind of built up a little popularity around the city to the point where the people who mattered were wearing the shirts.
Right.
And then my man, P. Stu, I got to mention his name. He's a major factor, but he is one of them dudes who's never in the front of the movement, but he was definitely key. He worked at WKYS, and when all the rappers would come through, he would call me up, tell me, hey, so-and-so's at the radio station, come through, bring us some shirts, bring us something to smoke. Mm-hmm. So I was doing that there at the radio station, and then I was doing that at Rap City, because BET was in Northeast.
Okay.
So we would just be there and wait next to the buses. I mean, Outkast, Goody Mob, like everybody. Then it was so free and easy. Like, y'all forget how things were before 9/11. You could walk in any building if you act like you belong.
Right.
So we would be like just sitting in Rap City waiting for Tigger and them to show up, and then we would just be handing out stuff. So one time, OAKLAND, right after he came out with Destiny's Child,
okay,
he peeped him wearing a Grindstone shirt on BET, and he was big, he was the man at that time. And I was like, oh shit, this could work. Then
how did he get it? Did you ever determine that?
I don't remember how he got it. I think he might have got it through Peace too. I don't remember because I hadn't met him at that time.
Right.
And so but when I saw him wearing this shit, I was like, damn, this is big. Like, there was no Instagram, so you would only see it when it was on TV doing what it was doing.
Right.
And then Jay-Z through my friend Steph Lover. She gave Jay-Z some stuff, and I saw him on MTV wearing it when they were doing the Hard Knock Life tour. And then so at that point it kind of went vertical. And then I got cool with Nori. Like when Nori came out with his album NORE, like he came down here, me and him linked through Peace Through, we got good, and he was just real, just a cool ass dude, man. I'm glad he's doing well right now. But he just like, we was cool. We just started plugging in with everybody. He was, man, like people come to town, man, Santiago told me to like link with you, and then so it just became this thing where we would just be the dudes. You come in town, we got the shirts, we get your brain right, your mind right, pause. We get your life right? And so that's like the role that we fulfilled. And our street team, guerrilla marketing, was ridiculous. Like, dang, I should have had one of these stickers on me, but we put these stickers up all over the city. My man worked at Kinko's at the time. We was just like at night, just making runs, just posting up 11 by 17s everywhere. So when you wake up, you was just a victim.
Right.
Like we was just, being seen everywhere. So then from that, there was a store called Up Against the Wall. Up Against the Wall was the place to be. It was the place to buy whatever what was new. Hands down, Up Against the Wall was the spot, especially the one on Georgia Avenue. So we went to our first trade show because I was just learning. We were in the game, but step by step we were learning the game. And so people said, hey, you need to put tags in your shirts. And by the way, if you've got a clothing line out right now, get your tags made and put your tags in your shirts. Customize whatever you got, or else you're looking like baseball game merch. You're looking like anybody could do what you do.
Right.
And it's simple little life hacks that'll get you better than that. So they were like, put tags in your shirts and go to trade shows. Because the trade shows, everybody's displaying, and that's where all the stores come. And at that time, the stores were really a big deal, unlike now. Now Instagram is a big deal. But, like, go to the trade shows, and that's where you can meet everybody who's somebody.
Right. So
we set up. Our very first show was this show called the Namsby Show. It was 98 in New York at the Jacob Javits Convention Center. And, man, you don't know what the money looks like when you don't know what the money looks like, right? So we kind of thought the money looked flashy, right? But the money looked real conservative. So people with these briefcases, older white dudes, just like regular dudes, hey, here's my card, call me on Monday, So, man, dude, he's my mentor to this day, Izzy Israelson, who's really the king of the entire clothing store game. They started in 1978 with Up Against the Wall, and everybody copied that blueprint.
Okay.
He told us to come by his store his spot in Georgetown. We went by there, and they put us in all these Up Against the Wall stores, and they became big. And every week we were on the hot list, which is like the list where they were like, we need more of that. People are asking for it. People are buying it up. And so, man, from that point, we just took off, and every other store copycatted what they were doing. And so that 98, 99, 2000, 2001, Grindstone was on fire. And nationwide for real, because all these buyers of all these stores is an industry. They all know each other. Mm-hmm. I learned you need a couple things in order to be successful. You need manufacturing, management, money, and marketing. You got to have those things. And as I went to these trade shows, I started understanding that they give up a lot of free game. That's where everybody comes from around the world. A few times a year, they give you the information you need. People buy what you make. People with the materials to make what you dream of. Everybody's in attendance at the same time in the same place. And so the manufacturing game was big because it was kind of like that little murky area where we were like, damn, I don't know how to do this. I don't know if I can afford this. And so I started analyzing my business with all its deficiencies. I was very comfortable with the street. I was very comfortable with my ground game, popping up on a Saturday. I knew where everybody was hustling. Show up, everybody had extra money. I'm, giving them something unique. I understood that. I did not understand this global manufacturing game. So after 03-ish, me and my partner broke up. Like he wasn't down with the grind because it's a serious reinvention is serious.
Right.
Like you believed in something, and the game changed. You had all the answers to the test, now all the questions changed. So we had to change everything, and everybody's not prepared for that. So then I continued to go on, and then I learned the manufacturing part. So at these trade shows, at the Magic Show, if you could imagine a football field, and then multiply that times about 3, and then multiply that times 2, because it's like a couple buildings. That's like the whole area you gotta walk, and it's booths on every hash mark. Like so every so often, like it's hundreds of people with something to offer. That if you're trying to manufacture something unique, you gotta stop by everyone and see everybody and have conversations. So it took 4 days to cover all that ground. But in that, I found people who made something that I had never seen before, that I felt my artistic value could make something special.
Right.
But your feet gotta hurt. And I took pride on my walking game. Like, I would walk so much my hips would hurt. Like, it just shit that never hurt before.
Right.
Like, I would just be in pain, just like, God damn, like, what part of the body is this shit? Like, I've been walking miles, like, just talking to people and shit. So, I met people who made different things, and I stuck with them. And I developed these relationships, and they were able to make anything I could imagine. So, like, this patch right here, this green patch, like, this is a company, they didn't make these, but I saw they made that and that, and I was like, well, can you make that?
Right.
And that's kind of like the game you got to enter when you start dealing with manufacturers. You have to see what's going on and see if you can turn that into a product, even if they don't display it yet. That's where your creative game comes in. So you use their tech and your imagination, and they need your imagination.
Right.
This is also what I learned. Like, the fashion industry is run by selling clothes to black people. But ain't nobody black who owns none of this shit. So a lot of the times you would see like an Asian dude walking the floor with a black dude who was obviously just getting bought some meals. Like, he wasn't getting paid. But like, look, you're from the neighborhood, show us what's hot. And they would just be like, okay, how about that? And then this dude would just be like damn near free consultation. You would see the white dudes do it too. And we didn't own shit. And people would be surprised, and I'd be like, yeah, I own this shit. And I'm making this shit. So let's get it. And I got like some money. Nigga, I done been outside. Nigga, let's get it.
Right.
And so it kind of made me an anomaly, which was good, but then at the same time, it made me an outsider to this industry that was all fucking relatives telling niggas what they need to be wearing. And that shit was really frustrating because I saw how we was kind of getting puppet mastered a little bit. But the bright side of it is I found my niche. And I found how I could work it. I found these dudes. I found everything. I found like animal skins. I found everything for the low. But I had to put in all this work because they don't have no billboards. It ain't no yellow pages, Google, where you find the shit. Like, they do this, and they don't always have the marketing behind it. So you gotta like see every booth at every show.
Right.
I would go to the ISS show in New Jersey. I would go to shows in Atlanta, shows in New York, just these little small shows that nobody would go to. But from that's how you build a brand. When it came to the marketing of it, I was just so rowdy with my shit. Like, I don't care where I was, it would just be Grindstone here, Grindstone there, just posting, just being young and rebellious, putting shit everywhere, posting this shit everywhere. But all that shit came with something where people respected it, and that respect made me a magnet to the people instead of me fishing for it all.
Pumping out the trunk and actually approaching the vendors back then, and moving units on the internet now.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So, we on?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. So pumping units out the trunk. So okay. When I was selling everything in that wholesale, so I was working for this wholesale company, like in '97, and that's when I learn the anatomy of a sale. So the anatomy of a sale, like you walk in a room and then you get everybody's attention. You make everybody really excited about your energy, about you. Fuck what you selling, it's about you. Then once everybody's excited about you, you find whoever in the fuck the room, it could be 10 people. If one person bought in, you feed into that one person. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, okay, yeah. So you start a little slight conversation with that person. Then you aim your attention at your product. Then when you aim your attention at that product, you let the person hold it, feel it, they fall in love with it. Then you remove that product from their hand and you turn to the business person, you tell them the price. And you close the deal. And so like that's how a sale is done. Is first the energy and you, they gotta buy into you. Then they buy into, so this was my street out the trunk game.
Right.
Right? You buy into me and I don't give a fuck. I would walk into several places where nobody knew me. But I knew I had like some real ass quality fly shit on my hands. So I didn't mind breaking up your conversation. I don't, whatever, nigga, whoever the fuck you are, it don't matter. Like, and I wasn't trying to be offensive to nobody, but I felt like I was introducing somebody to a good play.
No doubt.
And so everybody, so I did, that was my out the trunk game. When it came to the, man, this is wild. When it came to the, like the industry part and approaching vendors, the very first thing I had to do was to get rid of the intimidation factor, because it's intimidating going to these places and you could look them up and see the numbers they doing. These niggas is doing like double-digit millions. And I'm like, fuck, man, I was just trying to get gas money to come see you.
Right.
You know, so like, I remember one time I was playing basketball, and this is when I stopped playing basketball. This nigga ended up in the NBA. Dave Vanderpool. I don't know where he is now, but like, this nigga was balling serious. I'm balling to get some cardio.
Right.
And this nigga came down for a rebound, elbowed me in the nose and broke my nose. So I had a broken nose and 2 black eyes. And I had a meeting in New York the next morning. So I go up that motherfucker, right, looking terrible, but I'm not going to be late for the meeting because I got to sell these shirts.
Right.
Right, so I showed up at the meeting. I'm talking regular. Niggas like, are you okay? But they respected the hustle. Everything went well. And so when you meet, if you have your street game down, you have your boardroom game down. It's built in. So being able to walk into a crowd of people and say, like, whatever you do to get their attention, and hey, I got this here, touch this, all right, look, this is how much it costs. If you can do that in the street, you can do that same thing in a boardroom. You know, just no profanity. Profanity ain't necessary. You know, smell good and shit, and walk in there and walk out with the money. But you gotta walk in and understand they need you. Like, that's what you gotta fucking get. They need you, right? And so if you walk in thinking that you need them, you're not gonna leave with what you need. And so I understood that my imagination was the bread. And now on internet is a trip. Is a different monster, because internet goes by, like Instagram, like selling shit online, all that shit, that goes by, like, it's not really how good your shit is, but it's how frequently you show up.
Right.
So you kind of work like the ad industry. You have to like have a certain frequency to make people develop a habit. And then with Instagram specifically, you have to have like certain hashtag, and you got to tag people, and you have to just do this shit at a certain. You have to be consistent. Yeah. So like in the street, you had to knock on doors consistently and walk consistently and meet people consistently. On Instagram, you have to show up in that same real estate, but you have to post and hit people up to a level where they like, fuck it, let me look at what you're doing, nigga. And I realized my behavior as a customer, what made me like eventually answer some emails, like some pitches that people was pitching to me on email, or like to eventually just maybe buying somebody, it was the frequency. And the beauty about online buying is that the algorithms have it so if people feed into you once or twice, then they start being on your line.
were you inspired to do fashion by anybody? You know, you got Virgil Abloh over there at Louis Vuitton. He's one of the faces of fashion right now. You got Just Don. Any inspirations?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, just like my inspiration. One of my inspirations is Manola Blahnik.
Okay.
Because he's a true artist, and he goes from the pen and pad to you have to pay me $500 to $2,000 for the shit I just made, and you can see his shit from the drawing to the final stage. And even though I don't make shoes, I really respect his grind. I'm really organic with my shit, so I like to see it when like the person who is the thing makes the thing, more so than when the person who is the thing has a team of people that they check in with to see how their product's going. And I understand that's how a lot of shit is made, but I like the person who like really does this shit.
Curators.
Yeah, I like
creators.
That shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like my team has picked the colors and I come in and pick. I get that, but I don't really have a full respect for that shit the same way. You know, anybody can have like, fuck it. I'll go to the nearest high school and be like, who the 10 flyest motherfuckers in here? Make something. I'll be back next Friday. You know, that's kind of like
put my name on it.
Yeah, I don't really like that.
A lot of people be doing that.
I don't feel that. Can't knock a hustle, but that's not my style. So like, I really do like. I'm inspired by. I'm inspired by really a lot of shoemakers, man, because like shoemakers kind of keep it a buck. When it comes to fashion, like I'm gonna keep it two Virgils. I'm happy Virgil Abloh is where he is.
Right.
He's doing what he's doing because he's introduced a black face to high fashion.
Right.
And so I appreciate that. I really appreciate the April Walkers, Carl Kanai, Dapper Dans, like motherfuckers who walk around with the tape around their neck,
right,
to really be measuring people up.
Yeah.
Like I like, you know, like you really doing that shit.
Right.
My man in Atlanta, Exclusive Game, I'm inspired by him. You familiar with him?
Yeah, he be remixing shit.
Yeah, T. And the crazy thing, when I was telling you about, when we was talking earlier about my man KP, the pimp, like we was talking about, he got all that shit off the bitch's back.
Right.
Man, me, him, and T, we had dinner. This was early 2000s when, this was right before the recession. Might have been 2006. And T was like, man, I'm about to show all y'all niggas how to do this shit. I'm about to do this because I used to do this for, I can't remember what brand he used to do it for, but he was talking, I think he was talking a lot of shit, but I knew he was really doing the shit because I saw the brand he used to do it for. But to see him getting his rocks off on his own and doing that in Atlanta, like I'm inspired by that. He's really doing some, he does what he does really well. Really well.
And it's fresh and unique.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm inspired by that shit, man.
2020, I know it's been an abbreviated year due to the COVID-19 situation, but how do you plan to stay in the face of people, the consumers, and supply the general public?
Man, this is my best year online yet. So I'm gonna stay in the room crafting as much fly shit as I can with the clothing. I have music to accompany. Like my music is what the clothes sound like. My clothes is what the music look like. Yeah, right. So it's like the whole culture thing. I got an artist on Grindstone Music, Pinky Killicorn. So like I'm just really, and she's the hardest motherfucking female in DC, absolutely on the microphone. But COVID is a blessing to the innovator because all these gatekeepers are on their couch right now, and we get to really have at it. And so, I'm just gonna Grindstone's gonna be present. We haven't been stopped by this at all. We've only grown. I got a cannabis brand Peace in the Air, and that shit has a line out the door.
Right.
at the Grindstone store. And so we just man, we just get to be ourselves, man. This shit is like recess. This shit is fun.
Incredible. Why don't you drop some social media information and the website where people can cop some of your pieces online?
All right, bet. So online, on all platforms, you can find me at Grind, GRIND _ Stone, STONE, and online is GrindstoneUniversal.com. All this shit is Grindstone. The face mask game, like all my little shit. But it's quality when you fuck with it. Like if you have a piece, you understand. Like you gonna live with that piece.
I thought that was a scarf. That's a face mask.
Yeah, it's a face mask. This shit double as a, you know, you could wear it as a headband. You could do all types of things with it. But we here for the quality. We here to partner with black brands primarily. And man, fuck that. We here to own our own fucking voice. That's what we doing. Like we paying our people, like the people who we fuck with, we pay them. So we creating our own little economy.
No doubt.
Yeah. Fuck with me, I'm fucking with you.
It's been a pleasure, my man. Anytime I can, be of some assistance to the brand, I'm at your disposal. You know how to reach me.
That's an honor.
Peace.